Tammy Lynn Leppert, a 18-year-old young movie star in the making, disappears under strange circumstances on July 6th back in 1983. She was last seen allegedly exiting a vehicle from a friend who had given her a ride to the beach. This is all happening in Florida, by the way. Tammy had a very rough patch leading up to her disappearance. A year prior to her disappearance, she went to a party, and after that party, she had her whole demeanor change completely. She became more paranoid, and now she was even fearing for her life. Today we're going to be discussing her mysterious disappearance, and hopefully we will spread some more information about Tammy's case. I'm here with Rain. How are you?
Hello. I'm pretty good, as always. How are you?
Pretty good. Tammy's case. You were the one who found this case, and you brought it to my attention. How did you find Tammy's case?
Actually, I was going down to that Reddit rabbit hole, and I found that she was mentioned in one of the unsolved threads. And I was like, this seems interesting. She was a an upcoming movie star who did extra in the legendary movie Scarface. And I was like, this seems really interesting.
She was the girl who distracted the guy in the vehicle during the infamous chainsaw scene.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I haven't seen it, which we have to remedy eventually.
Yeah, we need to watch it.
Have you seen this?
I've seen the Scarface movie, but I don't actually have a recollection of that particular scene. So we have to rewatch it. Okay,
Definitely.
So tell me more about Tammy.
So Tammy Lynn Leppert, she was born on February 5th in 1965 in Rockledge, Florida. She was, if you would see her picture, she was very beautiful, right?
She's very pretty.
Yeah, like really stunning young lady. And even so as a kid, because even at a very young age, she started going into the spotlight. She was a natural. At just 4 years old, she started competing in beauty pageants as a young kid. And by the age of 16, she ranked up 300 pageants and 280 crowns.
So
you can just imagine. She was a beauty queen.
She was winning most of them, right?
All of them, like, whew.
Yeah, she's a very pretty girl.
Yeah. And in October of 1978, Tammy appeared on the cover of CoverGirl magazine, and after which her modeling career blossomed, and she soon found herself stepping into the world of film.
So she started she was basically mentioned in the CoverGirl magazine at 13. It's kind of crazy to think how much she has done in her life.
Just by the age of 18, right?
Yeah,
she's been so much already.
Yeah, she's been doing a lot of things.
Yeah, so she stepped into the world of film, and although brief, her career was promising. She started her career as an actress, playing a role as a party girl in Little Darlings in 1980s. I don't know if you've seen it. Unfortunately, no. I haven't seen it.
I've never heard about that one.
And in July of 1982, she landed a minor role in Spring Break. And interestingly, her legs, hips, and torso were featured in the main poster for Spring Break.
It's kind of strange because she was 17 and that whole poster is very heavily sexualized, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I also found it weird. Like,
it's kind of weird.
Odd.
I believe she was 17 or was she 18 at that point? Either way,
it's pretty weird.
Strange.
To have someone so young doing the poster. Anyways, in the days leading up to her disappearance, Tammy's behavior became increasingly erratic. After wrapping up the scenes for Spring Break, she apparently attended a party alone. According to her close friend, Wing Flanagan, as interviewed in Unsolved Mysteries in 1992, Tammy returned from a party as a changed person. This marked the beginning of the downward spiral for Tammy.
I wonder what happened in the party though.
She never really disclosed it.
Okay.
She was very secretive about it. never really explained to her mom what happened or to any of her close friends. But she became paranoid though after the party. For some weird reason. Something must have happened there. Yeah, she apparently after the party wouldn't leave her room, answer the door, or eat from open containers in fear that someone will or was trying to poison her.
Do you think it's paranoia to the point where it's not logical anymore?
It seems so. What do you think? Because even like open containers.
Yeah, I don't think... I just find it hard to believe how someone was actively trying to kill her to the point where they would poison her food.
Yeah, that's true. So whatever happened in that party must have spooked her out really, really well.
Yeah, I agree.
Right?
Yeah.
And she started telling people that somebody was out to kill her.
Yeah, it seemed like this whole party is the main catalyst that threw her life in a cycle of paranoia, and I guess it all culminated 1 year later with her
basically it's the
disappearance.
beginning of the downfall for her.
Yeah, it did seem like this party was the leading factor of everything that kind of proceeded afterwards, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Very strange.
Very strange.
And the party happened right after filming Spring Break, the movie. So was this party related to the movie somehow?
I think so. I never really found any information if they were related or not, but I'm assuming so because right after filming, maybe it's kind of like a celebration that filming was already done for Spring Break.
Yeah, that was something I was also thinking about. Maybe it was some sort of an after party involving just maybe the members of the movie. I don't know. Maybe someone from the audience. Maybe you've seen the movie, Spring Break from '82. I read the description of the movie. It's basically, the plot seems to be pretty simple.
Oh, what happened there?
It's just some young dudes having a spring break vacation.
And Tammy was there?
And Tammy was a party girl, apparently, in the movie.
Okay, not much.
Yeah, I mean, it's her first film, I believe. Or, yeah, it's her first film.
I believe it would be the second one.
Film?
Yeah, but she played a bigger role in this because her first film, she only appeared as a minor character in Little Darlings in 1980.
Oh, Little Darlings. Yeah, I forgot about that one.
I think this is way bigger than that. Or she appeared way more here.
Okay, yeah, she had a bigger part.
She ended up in the poster.
Yeah, true that.
So yeah, anyways, in 1983, Tammy appeared in the iconic movie Scarface, which unfortunately we haven't seen.
I've seen it, but I don't remember Tammy there though.
Maybe it was very brief.
Yeah, it was brief. She only got a few frames, I believe.
Was it a good movie?
It's a great movie. It's like a legendary movie.
Oh, damn it. I feel like I'm missing out.
You are. We need to watch that movie, but once again, I don't remember Tammy there.
Was it an action film?
It's a film about, a drug lord in Miami.
Oh.
How he kind of comes up from, I think, being impoverished to becoming a rich drug lord.
Oh, I see.
It's that type of a movie, and there is a chainsaw scene. I don't remember exactly what's happening there, but there is a moment where Scarface, he is in the hotel and they're about to chainsaw him to death. And apparently there's some sort of a distraction happening outside where there's a guy sitting in a convertible vehicle, and that's where Tammy apparently distracts that guy.
In a bikini.
I think I vaguely remember something similar from the movie, but yeah, I would have to watch this thing one more time. All right, so let's proceed. What happened next?
Oh yeah. After completing her role in Scarface, Tammy suddenly left the set on the 4th day of filming. Apparently, while filming a gun battle, if you would remember a gun battle.
There were multiple gun battles in this movie, so I can't recall exactly which one.
So in one of those gun battles, Tammy had a breakdown upon seeing the fake blood prop on the set while filming a gun shooting scene. And then she was apparently so distressed that the producers had to lead her off the set and call a friend of hers to pick her up and take her home. It was that bad.
Yeah, so seems like the fake blood and the violence
Freaked her out so
freaked
bad.
her out. To the point where, but she must have known what type of movie this was gonna be. Or maybe she wasn't aware.
Or maybe because her scene was probably not in the action-y part of the film.
Yeah, maybe she wasn't really briefed on the whole plot. And then she was surprised how violent this movie
Or how real
was.
it seemed to be.
Yeah.
Or maybe she knew, but she just maybe underestimated how realistic it would feel.
And she was really distraught after that moment. Okay.
Because of what happened in the party.
Yeah.
In the spring break party.
After party, yeah. Okay, so far this is kind of strange because there are like months in between both films, so she still hasn't gotten over
Yeah, she was still
whatever
paranoid.
must have happened in the party.
So when Tammy's friend arrived, Tammy was apparently hysterical and kept talking about somebody who was going to kill her. So it was pretty bad. Seeing fake blood triggered something in her that freaked her out, made her hysterical. And shortly after, Tammy apparently talked to her mother, Linda, about one of her friends who had bragged about a big-time money laundering and drug operation that involved high-profile citizens in Brevard County, from police officers to bankers, blah blah blah,
So
famous
this is
people.
a county in Florida, right? And can you repeat that? What happened exactly? She told her mother about
Yeah, she told
some sort of a scam.
no, actually a big time money laundering and drug operation.
But she's telling this to her mother.
Yeah.
At some point, she's like, "Mom, there's a big time money laundering operation happening
I think it could possibly
in
be
Brevard
because,
County."
Yeah, I think it's possibly because of the whole hysterical thing that's happening. Maybe her mother sat her down
Okay.
and was like, "Okay, what's happening here?" And she emotionally spilled everything out
Okay, yeah.
that she knew, or she was aware, or maybe she experienced about this whole big time money laundering and drug operation. Seems so. That involves police officers, bankers, and a lot of like big time people. And
It's just a strange thing to have a concern about when you're an 18-year-old person. I don't think I was that concerned about some sort of financial conspiracies happening in my county
yeah, that's true.
at 18. And how was she even aware of this in the first place? I mean, she had some minor roles in these movies, but how is she now coming in proximity of this information, if you know what I'm trying to
In
say?
the party, I feel like someone bragged in the party,
Okay.
and then she.
But I don't think that these, let's say, notable people of Brevard County would go to the same party as Tammy Lynn, because I was always under the assumption that she's kind of going to these young people parties. Probably not a lot of big time conspiracy guys in that.
Possibly, but there could be a lot of predators.
No, yeah, totally. But then how is she? Either way, like I just find it pretty
A
strange
lot
how
of shady
she.
people.
I just find it pretty strange how she's expressing this concern about this like money laundering. Maybe it was something about the drugs though, trafficking.
I feel so, yeah.
Yeah,
It's not even just maybe the money laundering, it's more of the drug whole drug operation.
And when is she telling this to her mother? After the Scarface incident?
Yeah, after she got kicked out of the Scarface set.
Shortly after?
Shortly after.
Okay.
Could potentially be on the same day.
All right. So, okay.
And she also said that she has seen something horrible that she wasn't supposed to see, but refused to explain further. I'm thinking maybe someone got killed. She saw it and then someone threatened her. Something horrible, like
In the
really bad.
spring break party, though, right?
Yeah.
And then you're thinking that now this violent movie scene from Scarface triggered that memory again.
Yeah, I was thinking like maybe she saw someone getting like beaten up, maybe potentially murdered. She saw it and she got threatened. Like, if you tell anyone about this will be you in the future. And soon enough, she got freaked out.
Okay.
Or some big time, like, drug operation. Someone threatened her, like, not to spill out anything. Otherwise.
Yeah, just somehow it's hard for me to believe in this one. I'm immediately leaning towards that some sort of psychological mental problems are taking place. I mean, so far from the story, but maybe you have some more details in a little bit.
Of course. And her mother, Linda, she believed that Tammy was gripped with a paranoid fear of being murdered. She took her to the sheriff's office to report what Tammy admitted to her. But yeah, according to Linda, during an interview in Unsolved Mysteries, Tammy was actually really convinced that someone was trying to kill her. According to her, she was like, then she said, "Mom, what would you say if I told you somebody was trying to kill me?" I just took a deep breath and said, "Do you think somebody's trying to kill you, Tam?" She said, "Yes." On July 1, 1983, it was apparently a windy day outside, and Tammy was standing outside of her home when a strong wind slammed the door shut. This scared her so much that she panicked and started smashing the window by the door in order to reach the knob to unlock it. She managed to do so, and she ran inside the house. She was hysterical and had to be pinned down by Linda, her mother, in order to calm her down.
I've read some different information that apparently something, I don't know exactly what triggered it, but she did started smashing
the windows
in the house, and she also attacked the family friend. Remember? What was that guy's name? I already forgot.
Rick Adams?
No, it was Wind something.
Oh, wait. Yeah, I remember the name.
I have the name written.
I barely remember the name. Something with W.
I have the person's name right here. Give me a second. So I was under the assumption that she started breaking the windows and attacked Wing Flanagan, the family friend, the male family friend. So basically, something triggered her on July 1st, and she was then brought to the hospital, right?
Yes. And yeah, so because Linda, her mother, believed that Tammy was getting gripped by paranoid fear of being murdered, and she was very concerned of her well-being, they took her to the hospital for evaluation, and after 72 hours, there were no signs of drug or alcohol were found. And Tammy was released. After Tammy was released from the hospital...
So they basically just let her go after her starting to smash all those windows, and I don't know, it sounds like a pretty strange thing. And I do wonder if they checked for something more than just alcohol and drugs. Like, did they check her mental state? That's what I'm thinking about.
I have no idea. I don't think so.
Because I feel like at this point, you probably want to check her... Everything, like, because this could be a potential onset of schizophrenia.
That's true.
So I would say you probably want to check that one out as well, on top of the drugs and alcohol. And by the time she was in the hospital, she probably would have had sobered up anyway, so there would be no alcohol, you know? So,
yeah, that's true.
And her behavior leading up to her disappearance doesn't seem like it's alcohol or drug related. To me, it's kind of seems like very like deep psychological problems that are spilling out, and she is now acting out and basically becoming very volatile.
I actually don't know, and I didn't find any information regarding that if she was evaluated for mental health issues. But yeah, after 2 days she was released. So potentially, wait, no, not 2 days, 72 hours. She was released. So I have no idea.
All right.
What do you think? So it could potentially happen because she was there for a long period of time.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Sounds like a lot of red flags.
Yeah, but after her release, she's still highly convinced that someone is still out to get her. And she even made Linda, her mom, promise that if something bad should happen to her, she should avenge her.
What does that mean?
Like, take revenge. If I end up dead, someone kills me, make sure you take revenge. Find out who it was or something.
It's very bizarre.
Very bizarre.
And she was also asked to talk to the sheriff.
Yeah, but
She said, and she didn't mention that she was fearing for her life to the police.
No, she admitted everything. Like,
to law enforcement? To police? Sorry? To the police?
No, from what I read, there was this Reddit post, very detailed, very nice, that she admitted to knowing about a big drug operation, money laundering, but the police didn't do anything about it. And after like 7 years, people or like the media went back to this police, and that person, the same police guy who interviewed her, barely remembered. Like, barely remembered.
So you think police is just shrugging her off at this point?
I feel
not
so.
really taking her case seriously?
I think so, because I don't know, if it was something very serious, you would remember it even after 7 years, unless you're always dealing with something similar.
And you didn't, and you basically just, didn't
like another day in the office.
Yeah. All right.
So, okay, on July 5th, Tammy met up with her high school friend named Rick Adams. On that same day, Tammy apparently told Rick that she had seen something she wasn't supposed to see and someone was trying to kill her, but she did not elaborate once again. They made plans to go to church the next day as per Tammy's insistence, but when he dropped her off at home, she told him, "I just want you to know that I may have to go away for a while, but I also want you to know that I love you." And when Rick called the next day, Tammy was already gone.
Okay.
Interesting conversation.
Yeah, but what happened the next day? We still have some more information, right?
Yep, the next day, July 6th of 1983, Tammy was last seen in Cocoa Beach in Florida. I'm sorry if I'm butchering the name.
I think it's in the same Brevard County, and I think it was basically the beach in her hometown. I think it's kind of strange because her hometown is more like inland in Florida, and then there are like the swamp areas.
Oh.
And over the swamp areas, it's that whole beach location. Yeah, it's a strange beach name.
Well, that's interesting.
I'm not gonna lie, but apparently that's where she was last seen.
Yeah, she was wearing a blue denim shirt with flowers, a matching skirt, gray purse, and sandals. Okay, trying to imagine her with that outfit, it seems like a very casual outfit to run away on her own.
Yes, but the fact that she didn't have any shoes, I don't think that's true. Because I found a different source.
She had sandals on, no?
Sandals on, maybe something like that. Because I think it was reported in some sources that she was last seen without any shoes or any money. But I do think that she had shoes and her purse on. That's something I read on a different source.
Maybe she took off her shoes in the beach because people usually do that, right?
Yeah, but potentially, but I don't think she went to the beach because she was last dropped off at this place called the Glass Bank, which was a famous location in this beach, in the Cocoa Beach. Apparently, people back in the day would go to this glass glass bank, but I don't think it was an actual bank. It was more like I don't even know what it was. It looks like
Looks pretty odd, actually.
like a business center. And I do think that back in the day, people would go there and they would watch the space launches, because around that area there was NASA space station, and it kind of later on went into disarray, this building, after the space race was over between the Soviets and America.
Oh, so it was a big thing back then.
Yeah, and apparently a lot of famous people would go to that location. So somehow she basically asked her friend to be dropped off at this location.
Okay, so that male friend was a 22-year-old Keith Roberts.
Okay.
And he was a banker at that time, and he basically met Tammy at an acting class a few years back. And according to Keith, Tammy called him early that morning and asked him to pick her up. And as they drove to the beach, Tammy told him that she was not really happy with her current situation.
Mm-hmm.
She apparently talked to her about her problems and how she just wanted to run away.
Mm-hmm.
Additionally, Tammy apparently asked for some money and the lift to Fort Lauderdale in Florida.
Which is basically on the other side of Florida. It's like a long drive, right?
Yeah. Keith apparently lent her $300 in cash, but did not drive her to Fort Lauderdale because he didn't have enough time, and it was like a 170-mile trip. And suggested...
I think it was a Wednesday.
I think so, yeah, it was.
So Keith probably was thinking, I got no time for this right now.
He just got off work.
Yeah.
Just to hang out, not to drive 170 miles away.
But he gave her $300.
That's a big chunk.
That's a big chunk.
It's not $30.
No, it's $300 with like no clear like plan when he's gonna get the money back.
Well, he was a banker.
Was Keith her boyfriend?
Nope.
No?
As far as I knew, he was just a friend.
Because I've seen something mentioning that Keith may have been the boyfriend.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I was kind of thinking maybe you know more about this.
No, not necessarily.
All right, I've seen something mentioned like that she was last seen with a boyfriend. Someone said like.
So it could be Keith Roberts.
Yeah, I mean, would make sense because it's like a hefty amount of money to just give out for a 22-year-old to just dish out $300. Mind you, this is happening
for an 18-year-old.
Yeah, mind you, this is happening in the early 80s. So that $300 is like probably close to $1,000 of like current money. So
that's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money to just give out to a friend for apparently no reason, and the friend is also acting strange.
I actually read that they were just acquaintances, so there's a lot of like conflicting stories here.
Yeah, we don't know what's happening, but okay, finish this
whole thing.
This whole thing. Yeah, sorry for derailing. I hope the audience is still following with the.
They're secretly hating you, like you keep on distracting us from the story.
That could be happening. All right, what happened next?
Okay, so yeah, going back, Keith Roberts just suggested that he'll just drop her off in her home instead of Fort Lauderdale. But Tammy apparently became so upset and started screaming, let me out, stop. And so Keith dropped her off on North Orlando Avenue at 1 p.m.
Wait, did she started acting kind of strange after he said that he's gonna bring her back home?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that means that she doesn't want to go back home.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why she started acting crazy. Because she, for one reason or another, she didn't want to go back.
Well, initially she wanted to go to Fort Lauderdale.
And it's a strange time for Tammy. Because Tammy had just got out of the hospital institution, and she's now essentially, almost seems like she's running away from home. And now this guy, Keith, he's basically saying, "Oh, I'm gonna bring you back home," and now she starts panicking. So I think maybe there's some sort of a bad blood happening between Tammy and her family, maybe with her mother, because her mother put her in a mental
Actually,
institution, which she did rightfully so, but maybe Tammy was upset about that at
I
this
actually
point.
read an article regarding that. Apparently, Tammy even opened up about how her mom took her to a mental hospital, and she was still upset about that. Apparently,
She opened up
ranted out.
to Keith.
Yeah,
Okay, so that's probably what's happening there.
potentially, yeah.
Okie dokie.
And then Keith dropped her off on North Orlando Avenue at 1 p.m., about 2 blocks south of the Glass Bank. And he claimed to have left her in a parking lot. It's 1 p.m., so it's still pretty bright out. I think it's pretty okay to drop someone off.
Yeah, and this is basically just a beach city, so it's not like a super dangerous area.
Yeah, I first thought it would be around midnight, and I was like, why would he leave her alone at midnight? But no, it's bright and early. It's pretty normal, I think. But apparently he was the last person who had seen Tammy, but he was not considered as a suspect. However, Tammy's mother, Linda, revealed that her daughter was actually afraid of him. And she did not like him, Linda. Interesting. Never really knew the reason why. Sometime after being dropped off, Tammy made 3 urgent calls to her aunt, her friend, and her friend. However, they were unable to answer. That was the last reported activity of Tammy. Linda would report her missing 5 days later. The mystery deepened when Detective Harold Lewis received 2 puzzling phone calls from a woman claiming that Tammy was alive. The caller said Tammy would make contact when the time was right, and then later mentioned that Tammy was pursuing her dream of becoming a nurse. Tammy Lynn's disappearance remains one of the most haunting unsolved cases. A young star with a bright future vanished without a trace, leaving behind more questions than answers.
It's a strange disappearance case, for sure. Basically, what we have is a 18-year-old girl.
Promising movie star.
Yeah, she goes to a after party after shooting Spring Break in 82. Actually, in July of 82. We just know that the party happened sometime in July. Now, apparently, she is a different person after she leaves that party. So, did something happen at the party? I mean, who knows? Then, sometime in 83, she lands a role in Scarface. On day 4 of shooting Scarface, she is so distraught by the violent shooting scene. Fake blood. I'm just thinking, how is she there for 4 days if she had such a minor role? Maybe she was still going to be an extra in some more future stuff.
Yeah, potentially. Potentially she could have appeared here and there, but maybe because of this whole situation, the whole drama, she only appeared in just a very minor part, as a very minor character.
And then she starts to kind of get more and more paranoid. She stops eating from open containers. She tells her mother that she believes that basically someone's out to kill her.
She smashed windows,
attacked a friend of the family also. Now her mother puts her in the mental hospital, and now they evaluate her for 72 hours and they find no alcohol or drug use. We don't really know exactly what other checks they've been doing, because maybe the mental hospital facility, maybe they didn't know the full extent of what was happening with Tammy.
Or maybe they did, but they just didn't find anything wrong.
Potentially. And then seems like she leaves home with Keith, who could be her boyfriend or could not be her boyfriend. We don't know exactly the relationship between them, but it seems like she disappears right after she leaves the mental hospital. So I'm thinking that maybe there's some sort of animosity between her and her parents, or her mother specifically,
for taking her there in the first place.
Yeah,
potentially
because she was upset about it and maybe she wanted to run away. There were some sort of mentions that she had plans of going to Hollywood, something like that.
Yeah, but apparently that weird phone call never from an from an unidentified person said that she dreamt of becoming a nurse, which is like, I don't know, it's just something else.
Yeah, so also we have her meeting with that other guy, Rick. I forgot his name.
Rick Adams.
Rick Adams. So Rick Adams, another male friend. We don't know the full relationship between them. Seems to just be
Friends.
kind of friends, I guess. Now, she asked Rick if she could go to church the next day. She never even went to church the next day, because the next day she went with Keith.
Potentially, maybe, just maybe, she had plans to go to the church
In the evening
the
or
next day
something.
later on. Yeah,
Yeah,
but she
maybe
just,
potentially.
yeah, she just
Maybe-
vanished.
Yeah, maybe she just wanted to kind of run away from her home or something like that.
Seems so.
And now, the $300 that Keith gave to Tammy, do we know if Tammy got to keep that money as she left the week?
According to Keith, yeah.
So she just got the 300 and was like, let me out, and she didn't give back the 300.
I think so.
So she had some money on her at that
Not
point.
much, not enough to start a new life.
No, but enough to buy, I don't know, a bus ticket out of state to go to Hollywood. You know, she did. Then she would have enough money to go somewhere.
True, but I don't think it's enough to, I don't know, just get up and leave.
And when exactly were those phone calls made? Remember, you mentioned 2 phone calls that happened. Some unknown lady, or I just assume it was a woman who made those calls, right?
Yeah.
Called the sheriff's office.
Yeah. Yep, the sheriff's office wasn't really mentioned when, but soon
Most likely,
after she
yes,
disappeared.
soon after. And then that caller said that basically Tammy is now living a new life and she's pursuing her dream of becoming a nurse.
Yeah, which was never mentioned before.
Was
the
it
whole
even
thing.
her dream to become a nurse?
No idea.
And who made these phone calls? I kind of think it's a prank call.
You think so?
What do you think about the phone calls? I mean, they didn't
I
really
don't
provide.
think it's real.
I don't think it's real because they didn't really provide any like insider information. Like in the other case we talked about last week.
Sharpless.
Yeah, Tony Sharpless, where someone at least wrote a letter where allegedly there was some sort of, publicly unavailable information. This is just a person claiming stuff. So I think it's nonsense, in my opinion.
Yeah,
unless
potentially.
this person is somehow connected to her disappearance, which is kind of strange.
Or
Why
what,
why would you be making phone calls after?
Yeah, but for what? To give Tammy a chance to become a nurse?
No, I don't. Yeah,
I don't buy it.
I don't buy it either.
Okay, let's go for the theory number 1 that we have. Run
Yeah.
away. Do you think Tammy could have potentially ran away and
Well, I think
started a new life?
I think she had full intentions of running away. To me, it seemed like everything she was doing, she kind of wanted to get out of that house.
To Fort Lauderdale. What's in Fort Lauderdale?
Maybe the airport.
But she
That would-
didn't seem like she was stressed enough or she packed enough to start a new life. Even
I
borrow
don't think she was at
$300
that point. Doesn't look like she was in the mental
state.
situation where
Yeah.
she would do it. I mean, maybe we're like doing her really wrong here by assuming that she was really like had some psychological problems, but it just seems like she had excessive paranoia, like not
Oh.
eating from open containers. To me, just indicates that she's really like not in the right mental space at this point.
I just also realized she was 18 at that time.
Yeah, she's
and
18.
at 18, I was a dreamer. I was like, oh, I'm gonna like rule the world.
Especially someone like Tammy,
They
'cause
already achieved so much.
who's like already like climbing up in life, she thinks she could probably take care of herself.
Yeah, and be
She
a big
thinks she
star in
could-
Hollywood.
Yeah, she thinks she could be independent.
Ooh, that's a very good point.
Yeah, so she could have tried to get herself to Fort Lauderdale or something.
Plus, there seems to be a drama between her and her mom. So maybe that could also have pushed her to run away and start a new life on her own.
But something definitely happened along the way.
Yeah.
She got intercepted by some culprits. I think she may have hitchhiked, and one thing led to another.
Someone who was as young, as pretty, and
Yeah,
don't know, a woman.
someone may have seen her as a victim, and took advantage of
yeah,
that.
that's pretty bad. I was actually like, even thinking, she potentially successfully ran away but ended up as a homeless person?
And she's still alive, but her mental state is now so bad that she doesn't even understand who she is.
Yeah, I'm
That's
also
what you're
like
saying?
something like, yeah, definitely. But it's kind of like, did she ever maybe hopped on that plane, went to Hollywood and became like a homeless person there, or maybe she was somewhere in the city of Florida, and she's just a homeless person who doesn't know who she is.
I somehow don't think so, because for me it seems like Tammy would be someone that they would recognize.
She has a very distinctive
Exactly.
features.
And I think, or I mean, anything's a possibility. It's just that I think something worse has happened. I think that someone saw her mental state and took advantage, or she wandered off somewhere, and maybe her state deteriorated and she got lost, because there are a lot of like weird, like the place where she was dropped off. I took a screenshot here. You could probably find it in the notes if you scroll down a little bit. The place where she was last seen is in a parking lot, but on one side you have the ocean, the beach, and on the other side you basically have the swamps. There are like a lot of what looks like swamps and rivers and like just big bodies of water, and it's like literally just a few blocks away.
But
There's
she
a
looks
bunch
like,
of stuff.
but it looks like she was last seen closer to the beach than the swamps.
I mean, have you seen the map?
Yep.
It's like, but up the, if you would look north from that perspective, it's like, if you look up
Yeah.
in the screenshot, there's like
massive swamp.
there's like swamps, what seems to me like swamps. So I think for some reason I just think she could be somewhere there, just was never identified. And that's just
crazy.
what I'm thinking. I mean, it's so strange how a person could just disappear out of into like nothingness.
That's true, and we don't know what happened.
We do have a couple potential persons of interest here. Well, not mentioning Keith, who is the last person to have seen Tammy.
Christopher.
A quick note on Keith. 1 second. Keith actually, I've seen some sources that say that Keith was never fully investigated, and that I guess we just have to buy his story that he dropped off Tammy at the parking lot. But I don't think we have concrete proof that Keith actually dropped her off at the parking lot. Are we that certain that Keith Rogers was his name? Is innocent
Roberts.
here? Keith Roberts. On top of that, I think we've both seen it. Keith Roberts, we have his mugshot, like from 2017.
Yeah, what's with the mugshot?
No, he was arrested. We don't know exactly for what reason, but now age 55, well, back in 2017, so he's like 60 something right now. But back when he was 55, he was arrested.
Yeah, I kept on trying to find out why. I didn't see any information, but he had a mugshot.
Yeah, he has a
It
mugshot.
must be something.
Yeah, he was arrested in Florida, but we don't know exactly why he was arrested. Yeah, so this guy, I don't know, doesn't look like his reputation is that squeaky
We also
clean.
have to take note that according to Linda, Tammy's mother, Tammy was afraid of him, and Linda didn't like him.
Yeah, good point. So I think there, in my opinion,
There could be something there.
there could be something there. Are we really that certain that Keith Roberts is?
No, but we also have
Are
to like
we-
travel a little back in time, because by the time Tammy disappeared, that guy was
Oh
clean.
wait, I just remembered.
dude.
No, wait, I just remembered. Didn't Tammy made some phone calls after that?
Yeah,
Oh, she
aunt and a close friend.
no, but no one picked up.
No one picked up.
So wait, how do we even know that she was making those phone calls?
Phone records?
What kind of phone records? It's 1983. What kind of
have no
phones are they
idea.
talking about?
Yeah, I have no idea. I just
how,
read it.
No, how do we know that? How do we know that?
Pings? Maybe there was like a missed call record from her like aunt's phone. Missed call from Tammy.
But what type of phone?
Notification.
Yeah, but it's 83.
Flip
1983. No flip phones. I don't think they had flip phones in 83.
Okay, no. Keep on talking. I'm gonna Google what phones they have in 1983.
Yeah. No, honestly, how do we know that Tammy made phone calls to her, like, what, aunt? Was it her
Aunt and a close friend.
and a close friend? How do you know that those phone calls were unanswered back in 83?
Oh, yeah, it's one of... Okay, I googled phones in 1983.
Can
and
show me? Yeah, I don't think
Is this
you get,
real?
Yeah, I don't think you get.
I don't even know how to describe it. It's one of those, like, phones that are kind of like a cement block.
Yeah, it's like the brick phone. But going back a little bit, right? So I'm thinking, how is she? I don't know.
Oh, wait, there could be something like a flip phone-ish. No?
No, these are newer. The ones that you're showing me.
The flip phones. So, yeah, the phones back then were...
No, 83. I don't think.
Maybe
I don't think they
payphones?
had- Yeah, maybe it's a situation. Oh, you have one missed phone call from Tammy Lynn Leppert. If that's not happening, then I have no idea how she made those phone calls. So all I'm gonna say is that Keith Robert.
I read the whole thing. I'm so sorry. I read the whole thing with a picture in my head that she had like one of those old school but like kind of smaller type of phone.
No,
Did
I
not
don't-
consider the year.
Yeah, 83. I doubt that she had like.
A flip phone.
I don't think she even had a cell phone, honestly. Now going back, so Keith Robert, I guess we just have to rule him out because law enforcement ruled him out.
I wouldn't rule him out, honestly.
No, honestly, I wouldn't rule him out either. But I'm just gonna say, what can we do? What can we do right now? We can't do
Nothing.
anything right now. It's already too late.
Too late.
And I did see some information. Apparently, sorry, law enforcement didn't really investigate that well.
I think it's like a mixture of incompetence.
Not necessarily incompetence, but maybe they kind
They
of
just don't care.
they glossed over her case a little bit. Didn't really look that deeply into it. Okay, now let's kind of.
So sorry, just
Yeah,
want to ask this
of
really
course.
quickly. Now, since this whole case was badly handled, do you think the police were involved?
Nah.
Someone, a police officer, a shady police officer, a corrupt one in Florida.
I mean, we have no indication, so.
Yeah, that's true. But remember, there was this. I forgot. They went to a police station. Tammy revealed everything that she knew. 7 years later, the same police guy who interviewed her did not remember anything.
Yeah, because it's 7 years ago.
It might be just another day in the office, or
Another
do you think
day in the
they're
office.
just...
These guys probably get like multiple situations like this every day where someone calls them and someone went missing and they just write it off, oh, another runaway. And I would say most of them do end up being like runaways that kind of come back in a day or two. They're
No. More of like when Linda took Tammy to the police station and then Tammy was like, I saw something I wasn't supposed to see. A big time drug operation and money laundering.
I think they had a lot to do in those 7 years to the point where they probably it was just not in his memory.
Okay.
I mean, I wouldn't look that much into it. Now, we want to talk about two men specifically, two individuals that have been brought, well, basically to our attention as potential persons of interest. So the first guy here is Christopher Wilder. I did look into this guy a little bit.
He's creepy.
He is very creepy, and I've never heard about Christopher Wilder.
Me too.
But he is a serial killer who had a very long killing spree in United States. He was originally from Australia, and he, I believe, was married at one point in Australia, and as a young child, even leading up to his marriage in Australia, he already had essayed an underage girl when he was still 17. So he has been a predator since a very young time. Now, at some point, he migrates to Florida. He leaves Australia, he goes to Florida, and he becomes very successful in Florida. He becomes a successful real estate business person. So he's making good money there, and now his modus of operandi, how to kind of assault women, is this guy, Wilder. Christopher Wilder claims that he is a photographer and that he's gonna take pictures of the young girls, and the young girls will become famous. Your pictures are gonna be on like magazines. I'm gonna put you in commercials.
Is it the reason why he's known as the beauty queen killer, or does he specifically like target really pretty young women?
I think I don't know exactly, but I'm pretty sure he was targeting like girls who were pursuing that
type of career. I see.
Who because it would be easier to trick them. So he was kind of tricking them, and he was. Yeah, he killed a lot of women. He killed multiple women in multiple states. I think he killed multiple women in Florida. He killed women, honestly, in multiple American states. And I think, I don't know the exact number, but I think he is, he is connected to, I think, over 10 murders, like 12 murders in total. So and I'm kind of surprised. I've never heard about this Christopher Wilder. Now, when we kind of relay back to Tammy's case, what connects Tammy and Christopher? Well, nothing really connects them.
I mean,
that we know of.
Line of career.
Well, the only thing that kind of connects them is that Tammy and Christopher were both in Florida at the same time. Now, let's remember that Tammy goes missing in July 6th of 83.
Yeah.
Now, Christopher's first, I think, confirmed murder happens in February of 84. So it happens like a half a year later. So we know that his first murder happens a half a year later. Now, that would mean that Tammy would kind of extend his... If we would end up somehow confirming that Tammy was one of his victims,
the first one, potentially,
then Christopher's whole murder spree would kind of start expanding backwards a little bit, extending, if you know what I mean. Mm-hmm. So that's the only thing, because I was reading through his like Wikipedia and through his crimes, and it was kind of strange to me because this guy really seemed like he started his murder spree in 84 February, and he just went all over America and ballistic and started murdering so many women, and it seemed like it was gonna somehow end badly very soon for him. So I think for me it just seemed like he wouldn't be someone who maybe murders Tammy and then waits 6 months to start the spree.
Oh, and it actually makes sense, because unless he was stalking Tammy, then it would not make sense, because Tammy was intending to run away to Fort Lauderdale, was dropped off to a random parking lot, and then his modus operandi of just approaching women and like claiming that he's a photographer.
It would be a coincidence. Also, we don't know exactly which part of Florida he was in. I think he was in Melbourne, Florida. I don't know exactly
Melbourne?
if it's... Yeah, it's a city in Florida also.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah. Or maybe I'm confusing here cities now. But basically, Christopher Wilder, he was killed in a shootout with law enforcement in Canada, because his murder spree was moving up north. And at one point, he was stopped by Canadian law enforcement. I don't know why exactly he was stopped. I think he was driving his car. They stopped him. He had to pull over. And then I think he reached for a gun, and a scuffle happened. And I think he even accidentally shot himself, and he died. Something like that. Another officer was injured, but that officer thankfully survived and even returned to duty full time. So we have a very strange guy, Christopher Wilder. I don't know, maybe someone in the audience, maybe who's listening to this, maybe you've heard about Christopher Wilder and you
knows more about him.
Yeah, you know more about this guy, and maybe you could somehow maybe paint a better picture. But he does look like he wouldn't fully rule out. He started
and then he couldn't stop.
And I wouldn't fully rule out him as being involved with Tammy's case.
I honestly don't think so, because if he had that same modus operandi,
Yeah.
I don't think Tammy was in the right state of mind that day that she would agree to go with him. Unless he's a driver and Tammy was hitchhiking.
Yeah, and he could have just overpowered Tammy
True.
in that circumstance. We have another guy named John Crutchley, who is, I would say, a even sicker individual than Christopher Wilder. John Crutchley is a convicted kidnapper and rapist who was suspected of killing as many as 30 women, but I don't think it was ever proven that he killed anyone, at least, but I think it's heavily suspected. How he came into attention of law enforcement, this man, John Crutchley, well, basically, on the evening of November 22nd, in 85, in Florida, in a city called Malabar, a nude teenage girl who was later identified as a 19-year-old Laura Murphy, she was handcuffed at both her feet and ankles. Handcuffed at both feet and ankles. Okay, so she had... Okay,
so basically the whole foot area.
Yeah, foot area, but she had access to her upper body, I guess.
Okay.
And she was crawling on the roadside, and someone stopped and picked her up. So apparently she had been kidnapped the day prior by John Crutchley, who picked her up when she was hitchhiking. So...
Ooh, this guy's more kind of in line than
exactly.
Christopher.
Yeah, and John basically told this woman, as he picked her up, told Laura Murphy that for work purposes he needs to go back home really quickly to pick up a notebook because he can't work without that notebook. So as they drove to, I guess, the driveway of his house back in Florida, John invited Laura to go inside the house with him. Now Laura declined, which was, I think, is a very smart move.
Yeah, definitely.
But then John started strangling her, and she passed out. And then she woke up. She was already chained up in his house. And
oh my gosh, that's crazy.
It's crazy, and he basically...
Ooh, I don't think you could say that word in YouTube.
Yeah, essayed her. I think I'm gonna try to bleep that one out.
Mm-hmm.
And basically he started putting needles in her body and slowly draining her blood out. And I think she only had 40% of her blood left in her body when she was found. So she was gonna die within 12 hours regardless.
That was so odd.
Yeah, so I don't know exactly who lives in the same house with this John Crutchley individual, but basically somehow John left her there as maybe he went to work. And then thankfully Laura was able to escape his house and survived this whole ordeal. Later John was charged, and oddly enough, after this incident, he didn't get life in prison. He got like 12 years or something like that. I think he got out, but then he smoked weed and he violated his probation, and they immediately slapped him with the life sentence. And then he died, I think, fairly shortly after in prison. So I think he died in the early 2000s. I believe it was 2002. So we don't know much about John Crutchley's, I guess, activities in 83, but we know that he started it in, well, he was caught in 85, but at the time when he was already caught, he had a huge stash of like index cards with names of people and their sexual performances. And I think
gosh, this guy's just a creep.
And I think he had a wife, and his wife said that he was just a kinky guy. So his wife somehow just tried to explain away all of the craziness that this guy was up to. And long story short, basically, I think, as I understand, he had like various types of interactions. Like this one with Laura, I think, was maybe the one that was dangerous, and Laura was obviously going to die here. So he must have killed people in the past, but I think some of them were maybe like voluntarily, potentially, like interactions with other people. I don't really know how that was going down. But all I'm going to say is that he does seem like he was heavily active in the 80s. early to mid 80s, and in Florida, and yeah, I could see how it's bad news if you run into this guy.
I mean,
Especially as a 18-year-old beauty pageant queen, it's bad news.
I think this had more potential of being connected to Tammy than Christopher.
Because of the hitchhiking
Yeah,
modus operandi.
definitely.
Yeah, because you think about Tammy most likely hitchhiked. I'm
Back.
thinking that she probably hitchhiked, because even if she wanted to get back home that day, she was 5 miles away from her home,
And she
where
called.
Keith dropped him off. I don't think she called. How do we know she called anyone? 83.
I
How
don't
do you
know.
know that she called in 83?
But why was it
Someone,
there?
please, someone. I know we have some smart listeners here. Please explain to us, how do you know that someone specific called you back in 83? How
Using a
does that
brick
work?
phone.
Yeah, using a brick
Or
phone.
like a payphone.
Yeah, payphone. How do you know that someone called? Because you don't pick up. So how do you don't have like a notification?
Maybe
that
there's
this,
like, I don't know, like a notification, like a voice thingy, like, hey, blah blah blah.
I don't know. I need clarification from someone like who knows more about this.
True.
I don't buy it. So as far as I'm concerned, I don't even know that Tammy made those phone calls to like the aunt. It's weird. I never really saw that detail anywhere else. So maybe you got it confused or something, or maybe it happened.
Potentially.
But okay, so now we have essentially two really bad people, serial killers.
I think there were more bad people, honestly.
Yeah, but two guys that were brought to our attention.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have Keith, the guy who I guess we just have to go with his story that he
I
led.
also think he belongs to the bad people
Yeah,
basket, but
he just gave Tammy $300 back in '83, so that's like $1,000. He gave her basically
dropped
like,
her off in the parking lot.
Yeah, just
maybe,
gave her-
Maybe Tammy insisted. Oh yeah, because like, let me go, stop.
yeah, but that's his story.
That's true.
I don't know, like, so I guess we just have to go with Keith, and what else do we have here?
Police, or at least high-profile individuals.
Oh yeah, the big conspiracy that Tammy knew something more about the whole the
Money laundering and drug
in
operation.
Beverly County, which I somehow I don't know. I just don't see that one as a possibility.
Maybe someone was actually stalking her, and that's why she was so paranoid.
Yeah,
Maybe it was real. We just don't have a concrete evidence about that. Like, nothing at all.
yeah. Either way, what are you leaning towards here?
I have a strange feeling that she potentially might have ran away, but met with some bad eggs on the way.
Yeah,
Because she was young, she was beautiful, probably petite, easier to. I'm so sorry for this kind of like to take
advantage of.
Yeah, that's exactly what I
Yeah,
was trying-
also remember there was a mention that there was some speculation that she was 3 months pregnant at the time of
Oh
her
yeah,
disappearance.
I forgot to mention that.
Yeah, apparently
So
she
what was
was.
that about?
I don't know, but there was a mention that she may have been 3 months pregnant. Obviously, it's. I think it's speculation because I tried to find out more about it, and it was never. There was never any proof.
Do you
that she
think it was
pregnant.
Keith's? Nah.
I mean, it could be anyone at that point.
That's true.
Right? It's
Wonder
no
who-
point in trying to guess who it was.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe it could potentially be Keith, and he didn't want the baby.
Oh yeah.
Right?
What? Yeah. Yeah. That
He
could be a
was the
possibility.
last person who had
Yeah.
seen her. Apparently.
Maybe if they were together like that, maybe Tammy brought her up to Keith, and then Keith didn't want the baby. Upset. So she made Tammy disappear, and told a lie to law enforcement. Oh, I just dropped her off in the bank. Yeah. How does Keith get a pass? Explain to me, how does Keith get a pass in this story? Just to me, it seems like Keith has just got such an easy pass.
Definitely.
Last person to see her, dropped her off. Yeah.
We're not even gonna check the car. Nothing.
Yeah, how does that guy get a pass?
Thank you for the information. We're free to go. And then later on got convicted of something.
And now he's out here with his mugshot on, like, I don't know, CBS Florida, like arrests of the week, and he's like with his mugshot.
Whoops.
I mean, doesn't look good, man.
That did not age well.
Yeah, there's nothing good that he's up to there, probably. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know. Maybe he's an innocent guy, but I mean, Keith, kind of an interesting character.
I mean, I think we just need more information from him and like more investigation from the police way back then, but it did not happen, so he's like way more suspicious. Maybe he could have been completely innocent, but the lack of investigation towards him and him being the last person who has seen Tammy alive, it's just really, I don't know, weird. Suspicious.
Yeah, suspicious. All right. Do you have anything else to
Not
add?
necessarily. Do you have anything else?
No, I think it's unfortunate what happened to Tammy.
Definitely.
I hope that someone in the comments, will tell us more.
Yeah.
We're seeing more comments these days.
That's pretty nice.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. It's really nice to read your comments, guys.
If you have
some
any
thoughts,
any suggestions for future cases, please let us
anything
know.
you want us to do, we'll basically just do something. Okay, thank you guys, and Tammy Lynn Leppert, please let us know what you think about this case.
And stay safe out there.